got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck, everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep, don't give a fuck. Can't stop, unplug, feeling overwhelmed, I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy, gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it, I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret in front of me. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff.
I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hates like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Stroke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy, only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and what in the world is going on? That's just the question, right? The $1,000,000 question. What in the world is going on? We got too many things going on at once. What is the goal here? I mean, want war, endless wars. I mean, threats of war. It's like, if it's World War III, then just fucking start it already and stop procrastinating. You know, a lot of these people need to be drafted anyways. There's so many hooligans out there causing a ruckus, and they need to be gathered up, trained, and send their asses off to war. They shouldn't, we shouldn't be always living in fear and constantly being told, "Oh yeah, we're doing this and we're going to war. We're not going to war. We're going to send 2 submarines over to Russia." I think 2 submarines is not enough. Let's be honest. It's just that's just not enough. I mean, with the firepower that Russia have, you're going to send 2 submarines. That's like sending 2 ants into an ant farm. What are you gonna do? What you gonna do? You actually believe that by 2 submarines that's enough firepower to overthrow Russia? Are you kidding me? This is just I don't know. It's a bad poker hand. That's what I gotta say. I just think that it's just bullshit. Yesterday with the announcement of that stupid $200 million ballroom. Who the fuck goes to ballrooms? And who the hell's gonna use that anyways? It's only for the elite. It's not for the people. We're not invited to that. We have no partake in that. That is not for us. If we wanted to go and use that ballroom, they're gonna look at us and throw us out. They're gonna throw us out faster than you can say out. This is ridiculous. Everything's just like scrambled eggs right now. It's so scrambled. Everything's all over the place. There's not like one track direction in what we're going. Like, I feel like throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. And that's what we're stuck with. Let's go ahead and check out this real quick. Let me put it up here. And
And some breaking news coming into our newsroom at this hour. President Trump has announced that the U.S. will be moving 2 nuclear submarines in light of remarks made by former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev.
That is
and
nothing.
Medvedev have traded jabs in recent days after the president shortened the deadline for Russia to make a ceasefire with Ukraine. More on this. I want to bring in senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez. And Louis, what are these submarines actually going to be doing?
Nothing.
That is a really good question, Alex, and
They ain't
it
doing
actually
shit.
triggers a whole lot of other
Hey,
questions. Number
Albie.
one,
Hey,
were
Seven.
these
How you
already
guys doing? I
submarines
hope you
that
guys
were
having a good
deployed
day.
to the area as part of the regular deployment of the U.S. submarine force around the world? What kinds of submarines are we talking about? If it's an attack submarine, that means this is a submarine that engages only other submarines. Is it a ballistic missile submarine? It's nicknamed as a boomer.
Yeah, it's really
something that
crazy.
carries a nuclear tip ballistic missile that
It's
could
just
carry an ICBM.
throwing shit on the wall and seeing what stays, what
Is
sticks
it
onto
a
the wall.
hunter submarine? These are all different questions that are being raised by this very vague social
Two
media post
submarines
by
is
President
nothing.
Trump. And so one of the things that we have to remember is that this is what submarine forces do. They are constantly around the world on classified missions, and it is very rare to actually disclose that a submarine mission is underway or a kind of deployment in this way, as President Trump is saying in this social media post. So it's very, it's just a lot of questions that officials here at the Pentagon really don't have answers to, because they're referring all of our questions to
if it would have been like 20 submarines,
Louis, thanks for that breakdown.
Then I would be like, okay, like if it was like 20 submarines, then I'm like, okay, you got a little bit of my attention. You got some attention over here. You know what I mean? But two submarines? You know how big is Russia? Like you could fit how many? Hey Google, how many United States can you fit in Russia?
You can fit approximately 1.8 United States into Russia.
and you think two submarines is gonna be enough? What are you trying? What are you trying to pull here? Like I don't get it. I really don't. I'm just. You want to make the news? You want to talk tough? I mean, that's not tough. Two is not nothing. If you tell me 20 or 30 submarines, okay, then we're like, okay, this is a really big escalation. But two, the fuck those two are gonna do? Oh, Russia would be like, we'll blow those motherfuckers out the water. Like, don't underestimate Russia. So I like we have too much. Like we put ourselves way too high. Like this person right here. Like it's we put ourselves at a pedestal way too high that it's invisible. That it's like it's unbelievable. Like we're not like that powerful like that. You don't think Russia is capable? You don't think China is not friends with Russia that won't get together with them and help defeat the United States and NATO? Just be careful with what you wish for, President Trump, because I tell you right now, it's laughable. It is laughable. What are you going to have them trembling in fear? Oh my God, no! 2 submarines! What are we going to do? You hit me 2 times with 2 submarines. Oh Lord, it's crazy. I've been inside a submarine, so I know how it is to be in a submarine. And I tell you right now, I have video when I went to my trip to New Orleans. That I went over to whatchamacallit. Yeah, I forgot the name of the submarine and the ship that I went to. I have it. I have pictures. I have all the videos. It's on YouTube. I did a video. And you guys can see. I went inside the submarine and checked it out, and that's supposed to bring fear. um, hmm, yeah, that's why Trump wants to build the Golden Dome. I wonder why, right? Because that came out early in his presidency. Yeah, we're gonna build a Golden Dome. Golden Dome. Why are we building a Golden Dome? For what reason? To deter a nuclear strike? Why don't we have that now? Why are we sitting on this? It doesn't make any sense to me. Let's go to another story here, and this coming from another Fox affiliate. Give me 1 sec to set it up. Let's bring it over here. I'm watching this as you guys are too, because it's my first time seeing it. So let's watch together.
Back to live now from Fox, as we are learning right now that President Trump has ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in regions near Russia in response to threats from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. And this is that post there from President Trump from Truth Social on your screen. He says, I have ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. This was just posted moments ago from the president. He said he ordered the submarines moved, quote, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that. Words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances. Trump and Medvedev, who is the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, have traded taunts in recent days. We're pulling that up on your screen there right now. That's one of those posts there from Medvedev. I believe on Monday he posted this. All of this coming after President Trump on Tuesday said Russia had, quote, 10 days from today to agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine or be hit along with its oil buyers and tariffs. Moscow, which has set out its own terms for peace in Ukraine, has shown no sign that it will comply with President Trump's deadline. Medvedev on Monday accused Trump of engaging in a game of ultimatums and reminded him that Russia possessed Soviet-era nuclear strike capabilities of last resort after Trump told Medvedev to watch his words. Medvedev has emerged as one of the Kremlin's most outspoken officials since Russia sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine back in 2022. Kremlin critics deride him as an irresponsible loose cannon, though some Western diplomats say his statements illustrate the thinking in senior Kremlin policymaking circles. So again, that post there from a few days ago, but let's put back up President Trump's post as we are bringing you this breaking news. If you are just tuning in, we are learning here. Moments ago, President Trump putting this out on Truth Social, saying he has ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in regions near Russia in response to threats from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. We'll keep an eye on this story here for you on Live Now from Fox as this does continue to develop.
How many of you think that they're gonna call out this bluff? They're gonna call this bluff because this is like a poker, right? You have your cards in your hands. Mine's are tarot cards, so you got the cards in your hands, and you're like, all right, throwing in the chips. Throw a couple of, throw little chips here. All right, well, what are you gonna throw into the pile? I threw 2 submarines. Here, like 2 little submarines. This is like compared to my desk. And this is Russia. This is where I'm going to throw in 2 submarines. Now, Russia, what do you have? Well, in the Arctic Sea, we got over 30 submarines up there. And we got a whole bunch of icebreakers. And yeah, we could target the United States just by going over Canada. And we could strike anywhere in the United States. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, choose your words wisely, but also choose your strategy wisely. It's really, really, really weird. Really weird. I mean, if this is the end days, let it happen. I want to be a witness to it, and I want to report it in my next life. I'm gonna talk to the baby Jesus. I'm gonna slap him across the head. Make sure I have my joint ready, baby Jesus. Because I got mine ready right here. Smells good. And we're going to light it up. And I'm going to light it up with the baby Jesus and let them know, hey, man, whatever job that you're doing up there, it's a horrible job. And the fear you have on everybody, it's not really working. Your books are not working. There's a lot of people that are really big in religion and really big onto that book. That book is just stories that are put together by people that document it, and who knows if it's true stories. It's a book. It's a book, So take it with a grain of salt. And don't take it literally, because a lot of those stories that are put into that book is just stories that are put into that book. The real book, you will never see it, because the real book is in the Vatican and it's hidden way deep in the basement that you will never find it. Right next to the book of the devil's book, right? The devil's book is right there, and so is, the real true book that we will ever get to see. So, they want to play that religion game and stuff, and it's just nonsense. It's nonsense. But very shortly and very soon, I'm gonna get back into the psychic readings again. I'm gonna veer off this news cycle that I've been doing. It's been pretty interesting and pretty informative to get information and to talk about certain information that comes through us, like, to us. But I think I want to get back into the psychic readings and get back into the tarot readings. It's about time. It is, and I feel like very soon the return of magic, it will be here soon. It's coming soon. So let's check out this news here, because this one has more fear. I fear more of this one than I do with 2 submarines going to Russia. 2 submarines going to Russia. Bring me back something Russian.
And we do have this statement as we stay in the Middle East from the U.S. State Department. They are talking about this Iranian state threat. They say, quote, "We are united in our opposition to the attempts of Iranian intelligence services to kill, kidnap, and harass people in Europe and North America in clear violation of our sovereignty. These services are increasingly collaborating with international criminal organizations to target journalists, dissidents, Jewish citizens, and current and former officials in Europe and North America. This is unacceptable. We consider these types of attacks, regardless of the target, as violations of our sovereignty. We are committed to working together to prevent these actions from happening, and we call on the Iranian authorities to immediately put an end to such illegal activities in our respective territories," end quote. And that is, of course, a quote, as I mentioned, from the U.S. State Department. We do also have this post from the Bureau of Counterterrorism, as they say, "We are united in our opposition to the attempts of Iranian intelligence services to kill, kidnap, and harass people in Europe and North America in clear violation of our sovereignty. We know that the U.S. and 13 of their allies, including the UK and Canada, coming together to condemn what they call a surge in assassination, kidnapping, and harassment plots by Iranian intelligence services that are targeting people in North America and Europe." A lot to discuss there out of the Middle East, so I do want to bring in David Dowd, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. David, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Pleasure to be on, Josh.
And first, I do want to talk to you about the statement that I was just reading there from the U.S. and 13 allies there, including Canada, the UK, and a lot of other allies. What is the significance of that statement, and what are they really saying?
Oh, the significance of it is that we're finally recognizing what the Iranian regime has done since its rise to power in the late 1970s and 1979. There were spates of assassination campaigns, not just in the Middle East, not just in Iran, but of dissidents, opposition figures, people that had fallen out of favor with the regime in France in the 1980s at the hands of Iranian agents, including through people that would become affiliated with what would later turn into Hezbollah. So this isn't anything new for the Iranian regime. This has continued throughout its history up until the present, and we're finally acknowledging it. We're finally acknowledging that the issue, and when I say we, I mean the collective West is finally acknowledging it. The issue coming out of Iran is not just nuclear weapons, and the problems with Iran are not just confined to the Middle East. They are targeting people, be they Iranian citizens on our soil, or our own citizens or any other citizens. They're targeting people on our soil, and this is reaching our part of the world. This isn't just confined to the Middle East. This isn't just a problem. If we turn a blind eye to it, like some of us would like to do, then it'll just go away.
As far as the Iranian government, have we heard any kind of reaction to this statement? I imagine the answer is probably no for the most part. And do we expect that we are going to get some kind of big reaction to this?
Well, I mean, they've actually denied it, but of course they are. I mean, what are they going to do? Admit that they've plotted to assassinate or target or harass people on Western soil? That would obviously put them on a direct collision course with Western countries. Deny, deny, deny. This is what they've always done, despite the fact that there's incontrovertible evidence in many cases to Iran's connection to a lot of these actions.
And of course, there's obviously, as I mentioned, a lot to discuss here. So how widespread would you say that these threats really are when you look at them? Because they listed a lot of different folks there, including journalists and other officials. We know that threats have been made against President Trump, not just once by Iran, but many times.
If I'm not mistaken, there's actually an individual in custody in the Southern District of New York for such a plot against President Trump. And my colleague, Behna Ben Taleblu, has actually written a piece on these assassination attempts or these assassination threats, if anyone's interested. But they're widespread in both time and space. Like I said, they go back to 1979, attacks on dissidents, either from direct Iranian agents or from affiliates that are affiliated with their terrorist groups. They've targeted a variety of people. The U.S. president, right? There are threats against Mike Pompeo and other former Trump administration officials from the first Trump administration. There are threats against Iranian dissidents, Iran international journalists in the UK, Masih Alinejad in New York. So they target a broad spread of people. These threats have continued over time, and geographically they're widespread. The United States, Western Europe, and in the Middle East. Look, if we look at countries like Lebanon, for example, there was a spate of assassinations against dissidents, politicians that were in opposition to Hezbollah and Iranian interests in the early 2000s, and that continued for some time. The latest person that is alleged to have been killed by Hezbollah, a Lebanese dissident, was named Luqman Saleem. If I'm not mistaken, he was killed in 2022. So again, from high officials to low officials to average people who just speak out against the regime to journalists, this is how the Iranian regime operates. We can't expect them to operate any differently outside of their borders than they do against people within their borders. They just do it more subtly and try to create an element of plausible deniability. But thankfully, with this statement, the ground under their feet seems to be shrinking.
I do want to pop this up on your screen right here because we know that Ambassador Mike Huckabee, I mentioned this kind of off the top, he did go into Gaza, observed humanitarian food program by the U.S. that launched GHF. Hamas hates GHF because it gets food to people without it being looted by Hamas. Over 100 million meals served in 2 months. So again, Huckabee, as well as Steve Witkoff, the U.S. envoy to the Middle East, are there in Gaza. How significant is a visit like that? Because we know that Gaza can be very dangerous, especially right now, especially when you're talking about Hamas.
Look, I mean, I think it's significant in that Ambassador Huckabee and Mr. Witkoff can go see the operations themselves and how they're proceeding, and the distribution mechanism to these hungry Palestinians who deserve this aid. In terms of danger, yes, Gaza is dangerous. I think these visits were announced ahead of time. I doubt Hamas would have targeted a U.S. ambassador or a U.S. envoy, especially one with whom they're negotiated or engaged in negotiations, at least deliberately. That would have put them on a severe collision course with the United States. And I think right now what they want is to leverage whatever they can with the U.S. administration to stop Israel's campaign in Gaza. That would work at cross ends with that purpose. There's always the risk of unintended consequences, right? Does a low-ranking Hamas member who doesn't know what Ambassador Huckabee or Mr. Witkoff look like attack them as they have attacked GHS sites in the past? I think this also is meant to lend credence and legitimacy to GHF operations, right? These have come under severe criticism from aid groups, particularly those involved with the United Nations. And if we're being honest, look, the GHF, I think their heart is absolutely in the right place. I think they're trying to do the right thing. I think their mission of not being neutral, because a lot of these organizations have this principle of neutrality when it comes to aid distribution, not vis-a-vis Gazans. Obviously, they have to be neutral vis-a-vis Gazans, but vis-a-vis Hamas, where these aid organizations, the traditional aid organizations, in a misguided attempt to help the people of Gaza, end up cooperating with Hamas to some degree or another, just like the ICRC cooperates with Hamas to some degree or another, because they are the local authority. GHF, its mission is to exclude Hamas from that process, to delegitimize Hamas in the process of getting food to Gazans. At the same time, it's a new organization, and delivering humanitarian aid in a combat zone, an active combat zone, especially one like the Gaza Strip, is one of the most complicated missions possible. Add to that, you have an enemy, Hamas, that is embedded among the civilian population that has an interest, because of GHF's exclusion of the organization, in foiling these attempts. So GHF is working on a steep learning curve, and there have been mistakes, but their heart is absolutely in the right place. And I think what all these other aid organizations must do is, rather than condemn GHF, perhaps assist them and emulate them in excluding Hamas from the distribution process, or from any part of the process of getting aid to civilians in Gaza.
And David, the last question I want to ask you is about a topic that, of course, you have been paying very close attention to. We know that just yesterday, or over the past several days, we have seen Israeli operations there against Hezbollah. Can you tell me if that ceasefire that exists is still intact, and the situation that is unfolding here between Israel and Hezbollah? Because so much focus has been on Gaza, but you also have the situation there with Hezbollah.
I mean, these Israeli operations have been going on since November 27th of 2024, virtually, right? Since the day the ceasefire was inked. And the reason for that, like, the ceasefire is technically still intact, but we have daily operations, near daily assassinations of Hezbollah officials. It's technically a failure in the sense that a proper ceasefire, a successful ceasefire, the letter of the ceasefire succeeding, would have seen the Lebanese government do the job that the Israelis are doing right now. Rolling up and dismantling and disarming the rest of Hezbollah's fighters, their infrastructure, conducting arrests if necessary, but doing what a sovereign nation is supposed to do, and that is to prevent the growth or the existence of a terrorist organization on its territory from threatening a sovereign state, a neighboring sovereign state like Israel. So that has not happened. And where we see Hezbollah today, which had competing statements from President Joseph Aoun, who's the president of Lebanon since January, and Naim Qassem, the new Secretary General of Hezbollah. Qassem is saying we're not disarming. That's been Hezbollah's consistent line since November 27, 2024. Most recently, he said, any attempt to get us to surrender our arms is basically getting us to surrender our arms to Israel, and we're never going to do that. And he's framing this as an attempt to keep Lebanon strong. Of course, they're engaging in some kind of manipulation here. Meanwhile, President Aoun is saying, no, we want to monopolize arms in the hands of the state, and the army should be the only actor that carries arms, that defends Lebanon. He named Hezbollah by name for the first time publicly, and I think that was a very positive step. The problem is there have been no actual concrete measures beyond that to secure Hezbollah's disarmament. They're still in this idea of talking to each other. And this is what Hezbollah wants, because as long as this remains in bilateral talks or consensual talks, then Hezbollah will be able to dominate the conversation and say, we're not going to disarm. So until then, we're going to see a continuation of these Israeli strikes, because, again, while the ceasefire holds in theory, in practice, one side, Lebanon, is failing to enforce it, and that is causing the entire ceasefire to fail.
David Dowd there at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to join us and talk everything Middle East. We appreciate it.
I don't know. I think that's us all a scam. It's all bullshit. Everything, it's this land, that land, oh, holy land, is all not your land. This land is not even our land. It's just a bunch of rocks that's put together, and we got water in between. There you go. It's just I hate the fact they keep pushing the narrative and trying to brainwash people. I'm not brainwashed. I'm sorry. This brain has been fucked up a long time ago. So you can't brainwash me. But the craziness that's going on is just mind-boggling. It's, I don't know. I just don't understand. Let's see. I opened up a couple of windows here, just trying to see which one to watch. Just a couple of them to watch, but we could start off with let's go with the Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's a dirty dog. She's so dirty. And you know what? She will never get in trouble. They would not hold her to accountability. Nope. She doesn't believe in accountability. She believes she does what the fuck she wants, and she ain't gonna get in trouble for it. That's how it is. She ain't gonna get in trouble. Um, yeah, and Trump is not gonna be the one to get her into trouble because he already protected her once, and he'll do it again. You know, it's just this is crazy. I think we're all being like set up here. We're all part of a planned, a dangerous plan, a sabotage plan to, you know, they put Kamala Harris up there for a decoy to bring in Trump again, and Trump just slides in and then takes control and then lays out pretty much like a neutral democratic plan. It feels, you know, it's not, it doesn't feel really Republicans like, no, I feel like this is more like a democratic mind thinking, like, yeah, we're gonna send 2 submarines over there, and all this Russia hoax, right? Because they want you to like focus on the hoax, and it's all a hoax. Everything's all a hoax. It's like the cheap fakes. Remember that? Remember once upon a time with the cheap fakes? Okay, I don't know. My brain is just too fucked up for this shit. That's why I'm getting back into doing psychic readings, because the media is just a fucking mess.
The White House says Hillary Clinton's campaign financed the Russia hoax. Watch.
This should be a story every outlet in this room should be covering. This is further evidence that Hillary Clinton approved the Russia hoax against President Trump. Her campaign financed it. Again, she approved it. And the FBI and the CIA were both weaponized to, as our director of CIA has said, accelerate this hoax against then candidate and former President Trump.
So what are you going to do about it?
To answer the heart of your question, the president wants to see justice served, and he trusts the Attorney General and the Department of Justice to implement that justice and hold these people accountable.
Yeah, hold them accountable. What are you going to do? Hold their hands?
Surely there will be a full-scale investigation of this. That's what you would expect, right?
Absolutely. There needs to be a full-scale investigation. With respect to the Hillary Clinton campaign paying for the Steele dossier and other elements, in the Financial Services Committee, we had a former SEC Commissioner Gary Gensler in committee. And I questioned Mr. Gensler about this very fact, about did he sign off on the checks that paid for the Steele dossier that we now know without any shadow of a doubt was false, a false narrative, concocted materials and evidence for the entire purpose of spying on President Trump's campaign in 2016 and starting this Russia probe, which was, in my view, the real thing that was destroying our democracy. And that's the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, wanting so desperately to defeat Donald Trump that they were using the intelligence community, laundering phony intelligence, and their Hillary Clinton campaign paying for it. And so, yes, it needs to be investigated much more broadly.
I should tell our audience that Fox Business reached out to Hillary Clinton's team for a response to the story. We have not heard back from that team at this point.
You're never going to hear
Biden's
from her.
longtime aide, Mike Donovan, he just testified in the Biden probe. He says Democrats overreacted to the catastrophic debate. Biden was capable of doing the job. And now Axios is reporting that Don Elon was promised $8 million if Biden won the election. What is going on here, Congressman?
I mean, first of all, nobody believes Mr. Donlin. The Democrats were concerned. People, listen, the debate was disastrous. I was there. The American people saw it. But don't forget, I think it was 2 weeks before the debate, Joe Biden went and did this now famed fundraiser with Barack Obama and George Clooney, and it is clear they're having to help him off the stage. Apparently last night, he gave some speech last night, and they literally walk him to the podium for him to start his remarks. Joe Biden has not been mentally capable for quite some time. Mr. Donlin is covering up, quite frankly, because they have a long relationship, and I respect that. If you have a long relationship with somebody, you try to do your best to protect them. But one thing is clear: Joe Biden was not running the country. He wasn't mentally capable of running the country. And so we need to continue to investigate Mr. Donlin's comments, and the fact that he was going to be paid $8 million by the president's campaign, President Biden, if he had won, demonstrates that he's trying to protect his client, his longtime associate, as opposed to telling the truth to the American people.
Is that normal in politics? You get a 4 or 5, a big bonus if you win. Is that common?
Yeah, it happens a lot. It happens more than people realize. And so, look, I think one of the things when you talk about the swamp, part of the swamp is all of the people who come up and they're around a candidate or an elected official. And so there's a lot of long-time relationships that exist in politics. And I think that's one of the reasons why you get a lot of internal infighting that happens all the time, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people are going to make money on political success.
Ain't that the truth? You're making a push to reopen the launch pad in Cape Canaveral. That's a name I remember from the distant past. Why do you want to reopen it?
Well, first of all, it was an aged launch pad, one that wasn't being utilized anymore. We have the space to continue the expansion of space operations here at Cape Canaveral. And so it makes sense for this work to be done. I actually was able to tour the pad yesterday. It's not something that you wanted to put the new Starship rocket from SpaceX on. You don't want to use the old platform. It makes sense to build a new one. So that's what they're in the process of doing. That work should be completed next year. We just want to make sure that the Department of Defense gets through their audit checks quickly so we can get this up and running for the future.
And it's in Florida, which always helps. So, Congressman from Florida, of course. Byron Donalds, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you again real soon. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Well, you want to see the Biden? Let's go check out Biden with his stupidness. They were talking about it, right? And we wonder, how was Biden doing at this event? I'm not going to play the whole event because it's just not, I'm not sitting through pins and needles. I'd rather sit through pins and needles and glass and lay on it than to listen to Biden for a whole half hour. Just not, I'm just not capable of that attention span. It's just not me. I'm just no. But let's check out at least a summarize of what happened. And just pay attention to details. Pay attention to his walking pattern, who's walking with him. Look at his eyes. Look at his mannerism. And we'll talk after.
Mr. Joseph R. Biden Jr.
Our courts are meant to be a valid check on the excesses of other branches of government, especially when Congress and our executive overreach and run afoul of our constitutional and institutional safeguards, as they are doing now.
What did he say?
I'm proud I've appointed judges doing their best to be independent, fair, and impartial, respecting the rule of law and upholding the Constitution.
What?
I wish I could say the same for the executive branch, who seems doing his best to dismantle the Constitution. Oh, I'm being deadly earnest, man. Which seems to be what's going on. You know, and they're doing it all too often with the help of a Congress that's just sitting in the sidelines and enabled by the highest court in the nation. The rulings they've made. My God. Folks, in our lives, the life of our nation, there are moments so stark that they divide all.
This makes me want to watch the whole damn thing now.
From everything that followed. Moments that force us to confront hard truths about ourselves, our institutions, and democracy itself.
Have an injection in my
We've
eye.
seen the law firms bowing to pressure, bending to bullies, instead of staying rooted in justice and the law.
What?
Including some of the largest newspapers in America. We see the apparent glee some of our politicians express. That's while watching immigrants who are in this country legally torn from the arms of the family, dragged away in handcuffs.
Legally
The
or
only home they've ever known. My friends,
legally?
we need to face the hard truth of this administration. It has been to ease all the gains we've made.
All the
in my
gays?
administration. To erase
You say all the gays?
history rather than make it. To erase fairness, equality, to erase justice itself. And that's not hyperbole, that's a fact.
Oh man, don't tell me we gotta watch the whole fucking thing, man. I'd rather someone beat me with a fucking baseball stick. Do we dare listen to a whole speech of Biden? I don't want to. I want to, but then I don't want to because that's just putting me through torture. And the guy's already fucked as it is, you know. And you know he has sour grapes. He's very sour. He's not happy at the moment. Would I want to put myself through that? I wouldn't want to put you guys through it. That's punishment. That is punishment, like extreme punishment. Let me find something else to watch. Oh yeah, wow. Talking about illegal aliens or legal aliens. I don't know what the fuck Biden was saying. But this story is about an illegal alien becomes a police officer, obtains a firearm. Listen to this story. This story is fucking crazy. How, like, American citizens can I even, you know how hard that test is I almost became a police officer myself. I actually almost became a state trooper. And I think the state saved me from becoming a state trooper because they told me that I needed 2 years of public contact experience. And that was the dash of my state trooper dreams, right? And nope, I didn't go that path. That path, it was not meant for me. So they hired an illegal to become a police officer. Let's take a look at this story.
Great to see you too. Check it out. Check it out. All right. Turning now to this morning's Newsmax crime report. So we often tell you about local police not helping ICE in some Democrat-controlled states and cities.
But in one town in Maine, the lack of help has nothing to do with sanctuary.
Not far from me.
But the fact that
Maine?
one of its police officers
to Maine,
was an illegal immigrant. Newsmax crime correspondent
Last
Jason
year?
Matera breaks down how ICE got him and the fallout.
I think it was last year. I
Yeah,
went
good
to
morning,
Maine.
Mark and Charlotte. So the guy's name is John Luke Evans, and according to federal officials, he should have left the country 2 years ago. He didn't. He overstayed his visa. And somehow during this time, he managed to land a job with law enforcement, serving as a reserve police officer in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. The small coastal town sees a surge of visitors each summer, and Evans was brought in to help with seasonal policing. He was given full police authority.
He was the only
including
black
power to
one.
make arrests and use deadly force. Evans' immigration status came under scrutiny after he tried to buy a personal firearm, an attempt that prompted a federal alert. ATF and ICE moved in and made the arrest. A Homeland Security spokesman called the entire situation outrageous. Police department hiring an illegal alien and arming him, adding that the episode would be comical if it weren't so tragic. But now the Old Orchard Beach Police Department is pushing back, saying Homeland Security approved the hire. Their defense is that the E-Verify system confirmed Evans was authorized to work in the country. And under Maine law, that's enough. Non-citizens with valid work papers can serve as police officers. They also point out that roughly a dozen other states allow non-citizen residents to work in law enforcement, which of course raises a bigger question. How many others are out there? How many non-citizens, possibly here illegally, are patrolling American streets with badges and guns? And how many police officers who couldn't legally
you're gonna
buy
have
a
to run
firearm
background checks
on
on
their
all of them.
own are being handed one by their department? So
That's
Mark
easy.
Charlotte, I spoke to
That's
a
easy to
source
find out.
and who's familiar with the arrest and tried to get some clarity on Homeland
That's super
Security approving
easy
this
to
hire
find
through
out.
E-Verify. And he said, listen, E-Verify, it looks at work authorization mainly, but if you're looking for legal status, that's what would come up through a full background check, which possibly didn't even happen here. He said, regardless, non-citizens shouldn't be given badges and guns, particularly when they couldn't even buy one legally on their own, which happened here, and why the guy is
how
in the
can a
deportation
non-citizen
process.
I mean, you'd think that you would do a background check on the
participate
guy
in law
before you hired
enforcement
him as
and
a
trying to
cop.
tell a citizen?
You'd think.
There you go.
All right.
I don't know.
Jason, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. All right,
Thank
now
you.
time for some more news headlines. Let's go to Alex Kramer.
That's crazy. That's just a crazy story, right? How the hell? I don't know why I did that, but how in the hell an illegal in Maine overstayed his visa? How in the hell he became a police officer and was given a gun and had I don't know what rights because he's a non-citizen, so he's not even protected by the Constitution. So how did you swear him in? He's a non-citizen. He's illegal. He didn't come through the border, but he overstayed his visa, and that, my friends, is a no-no. You can't do that. That's like if I go to UK and I'm like, fuck it, I want to stay here. I'm gonna overstay my stay, and I'm just gonna live here. And the government cannot tell me nothing. That sounds very entitled. that doesn't sound right, right? So I hope this isn't happening in other departments, but in order to find out, you're gonna have to run background checks on every police department that's right now, like every officer. You gotta run a background check on them and run them through the database to make sure that their information is legit and they are who they say they are. This is scary, man. It's so wild that they got one, but I meant how many are there out there? It's a lot of illegals here. Not counting the ones that came through the border, because that's in the millions and millions and millions and millions, like 30 plus million that are here. But the ones that overstayed their visas. And this guy overstayed his visas by what, like 2 years, 3 years? That's just that's an automatic deportation. But not only that, how the hell did he become a police officer? That's like you come here on a visa, you apply, and you become a police officer. What? We can't do that. We can't do that if we go to, let's say, anywhere in the world. Like if I go back to UK and I overstay my visa and then I apply to become a police officer there, and they have to hire me. They hire me. Especially him. They hired the black guy because he was the only black guy in the department. Let's not get it twisted. Maine it's a very white state, and not only that, but the color that you see is it's very not much, okay? Because there is color people in Maine, there are, but not like Florida, not like California, not like New York, not like any other state here. And Maine is very unique, so it's wild. I don't understand that police department hiring this dude and then giving him a gun. And the only way they caught him, if he would have just not purchased a personal arm, like a personal weapon, If he didn't go in and try to buy a weapon for his personal use, he would never have been discovered. They probably would have never done nothing to him, knowing that like the thing that triggered the system was the information put in to purchase this weapon, and then the red flags came up. So what system the police department is using? I really that's a question that needs to be answered by all police departments and state too. This is not just police departments. This is like state troopers. These are like people that are infiltrating our like. This is like identity theft on steroids. That that could be happening all around this country, and we don't really know who these people are. It's crazy. It is wild. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'd say right now that's just a wild story. Let's see. Let me find another story here. Okay, let's check this one out because this is one that we've been talking for a few days now. Let me set it up for us. And the story is about that manhunt that's going on in Tennessee. The dude is from Rhode Island, a state that's next to me. Literally, it's a fucking what 50. I would say 55 an hour, but actually no. To Rhode Island, it's about an hour. Let me see. How long is it to get there? Estimate. Let me find out. Okay, Rhode Island. Here you are. Let's see the closest. Yeah, we could go here because this is right at the border. Westerly. Okay. An hour and 10 minutes. Okay, so it's not far for me. It's an hour drive. That's just a couple of singing in the car, like 10 songs, and they're there. It's like literally like maybe a little bit more music, maybe 15 songs, and you're there. It's just wild times. Let's check this out.
There to officials in the state of Florida as they're now sharing some personal stories, but also talking about immigration enforcement there and what the state is doing differently. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, of course, there touching on Alligator Alcatraz, that detention center over in the Florida Everglades. Right now, I do want to get to a developing story that we are following out of Tennessee. Take a look right here at your screen as a quadruple murder mystery involving a baby found abandoned but alive there. Hours later, the baby's father, mother, grandmother, and uncle all found dead, and police have named a suspect. Madison Scarpino with Fox is live here.
How they were killed
and the manhunt that is underway.
Were they shot?
Madison, what do we know and what is still left to figure out here?
Well, good morning, Josh. That 7-month-old girl was found stranded, strapped in a car seat in a seemingly random front yard. And a relative of all of the victims says that the family trusted the suspect. And again, he was close with the family. So it's unclear right now why or how this happened. But this is the man that multiple law enforcement agencies are looking for. 28-year-old Austin Robert Drummond. He's wanted for 4 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of aggravated kidnapping, and several gun charges.
Weird.
Investigators believe Drummond is driving this 2016 Audi A3 with a Tennessee plate RI 01896. It has damage to the driver's side, and he should be considered armed and dangerous. Investigators say Drummond killed the abandoned baby's parents, James Wilson and Adriana Williams. They say he also murdered Courtney Rose, that's the baby's grandmother, and the baby's uncle, Braden Williams. On Fox and Friends this morning, the local DA there says this was a targeted attack.
Austin Drummond's girlfriend, his current girlfriend, is a family member of the 4 deceased individuals. She's a half sister to Courtney Rose And so she would have been Braden, and Adriana would have been her nephew and niece.
Investigators found the family dead in a wooded area just hours after the 911 call came in about the abandoned baby. The DA says there is strong evidence at the scene connecting Drummond to the murders. And this is not his first run-in with the law. He just got out of prison less than a year ago after serving 13 years for armed robbery. The DA tells Fox he also had several pending charges there, including attempted murder. So they believe, again, this man is very dangerous, and police are urging anyone who may see him or that white Audi to call 911, and there is a combined award of up to $15,000 for any information leading to Drummond's arrest. Josh.
All right, Madison Scarpino there with Fox News. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Anything at this point coming in from the TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, as to whether they plan to hold a news conference or provide any more updates? As of right now, I assume we haven't heard much there.
We haven't heard from TBI for about a day now. There was supposedly supposed to be some sort of conference yesterday. That did not happen. But of course, yesterday is when they named 28-year-old Austin Drummond as the suspect. So as you can imagine, they're likely very busy right now trying to find him. But as soon as we hear about an update from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation or any other law enforcement agency involved in this case, we'll definitely let our viewers know.
All right, Madison Scarpino there with Fox. We'll be in touch here as we gather more information. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here.
Thanks.
Wow. Okay, so that's just a weird. I hope they find the guy, but I wish they would tell you in the story, like, yeah, they were shot to death, or they were stabbed to death, or like, I'm assuming they were stabbed. Oh, well, stabbed. I mean, not stabbed, but shot to death. I mean, they said they have credible evidence that he was the one that did it. What is the credible evidence? Did he leave his shoe behind like Cinderella? Did he like I don't know. They don't specify. Like, it's been already a few days now, and they still don't specify exactly how these individuals died. Did they die by gunfire or stabbing? Or because the one from Arkansas, the one that stabbed the wife and husband. Actually, since I'm talking about that motherfucker, let's go to that fucker. Let's go to that. I know I have a video for that fucker. The one from Arkansas is like, since I'm talking about him, let's see his story, because I did have his video up here. So let's go to the story.
So now the man accused of murdering a couple in Arkansas while they were on a hike with their two young daughters, set to make his very first court appearance any moment. This comes now as disturbing new details emerge about these gruesome killings. And Brooke Taylor, she's on that and joins us live with more now from there. Brooke, good morning.
Hi, Bill. Good morning. State police are calling this a completely random attack, and they say that the parents spent their last moments alive saving and protecting their young little girls. I want to show you new arrest video here of 28-year-old Andrew James McGann. He's getting arrested mid-haircut at a barbershop in Arkansas after a 5-day manhunt. He's charged with murdering a couple on a hiking trail with their young daughters at Devil's Den State Park on Saturday afternoon. Wow. The victims here, Clinton and Kristen Brink, they were violently stabbed. Their 7- and 9-year-old daughters were unharmed, thankfully. State police say that Clinton was attacked first. Kristen then rushed those kids to safety, and then she returned to help her husband and was also killed. More than 500 tips led police to McGann. His DNA matched evidence at the scene, and he admitted to the killings, police say. The suspected murderer is an elementary school teacher, we've learned. He had worked in Texas and Oklahoma, and recently he moved to Arkansas to start a teaching job there. A former student's mother recognized him on the news and spoke to us.
that's when he opened up and told me that him and several other classmates had noticed Mr. McGann just being very touchy and weird with the girls in the class, that sometimes they would go out for recess and he would keep a girl back just one-on-one.
And Louisville ISD in Texas told parents that McGann was placed on leave. Quote, they did not find any evidence of inappropriate behavior with a student, but found his classroom management and professional judgment to be below the district's expectations. The elementary school teacher now could face the death penalty. We're waiting for him to see a judge and make that court appearance for the first time. Bill.
Watching for that also. Thanks, Brooke. Brooke Taylor, the latest on that this morning. Thank you, Aisha.
Okay, let's bring in Paul Morrow, Fox News contributor and retired NYPD inspector. Paul, good morning to you. If we can just put this mugshot up on the screen here, I think we all just need to take a minute just to take this in. This guy reminds me so much of Brian Koberger, the eyes there, right?
Not really.
Haunting eyes, the look on
He
his
looks
face.
worse
He looks
than Koberger.
sleep deprived. So maybe he's been up a couple of nights thinking about what he just did, allegedly. If you could help us get into his head, it's very interesting to me that he didn't kill the girls. The two girls are alive. So number one, what do you think happened there? And number two, could these girls have to testify one day in court?
Yeah, it's a good question. Let me take the latter. So yes is the answer, okay? In Arkansas, there's no age limit regarding something like that. The judge will make the assessment, interview the kids, and see if they are capable of doing it, if they're competent, if they can understand right from wrong, if they understand the gravity of the situation. What a traumatizing thing. And in that sense, what the Arkansas legislators have recognized is that in an instance like this, the kids can testify remotely. So they're not in the room with the perpetrator himself. So that could come to pass. But there is a mountain of other evidence against this guy, including, according to the reporting, that he confessed. So you have a potential confession. They've already apparently got a DNA match. They caught him so quickly afterwards. He goes and gets a haircut. My gut tells me they probably got victim blood off of him because this was a stabbing. So it was likely going to be not a very clean scene. And the big question becomes now to your first question, which is the motive. Was he trying to get the kids in light of the past history that he seems to have in the schools? The law enforcement there is cutting against that for now, but otherwise it's really, really difficult to see, as we were talking about, who goes and hides in the woods to do a robbery.
Yeah.
So that doesn't
If
feel
that's
like
the
the
case, motive. I agree with you. Here's the governor from last hour, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, down in Arkansas. Watch here.
He was in Texas and then Oklahoma and then just recently moved to Arkansas. We're thankful that at no time had he actually stepped foot into the classroom and hadn't yet started, and has been arrested now and was not in the classroom here in our state, but something that we're certainly looking into to prevent and make sure it can't happen.
So we've got our cameras down there in Arkansas, and when we see the suspect, we'll share that with our viewers. Meanwhile, yesterday, you went to the funeral of Didar Islam up in the Bronx. Mamdani was there. He wants to be mayor. A few others were there. What did you see as we roll your video that you shot on your phone there, Paul?
Well, you know, one of the things that was interesting, if we want to pick out a salient point in terms of the context in Mamdani, is the fact that when Mayor Adams spoke, and he spoke quite eloquently, I have to say, you could see, you know, even in the press conference, in the aftermath of this thing, you could see that the mayor was quite shaken and felt this, you know. I mean, whether you voted for him or not, irrespective, he's a cop, he felt it. All right. He also, though, made a very pointed statement right at the beginning of his remarks and said, I want to thank the SRG unit for going in as fast as they did to clear that building, which is all accurate.
SRG stands for?
Strategic Response Group, and that is the unit that Mamdani is on record as saying he's got to get rid of it. Just for context, so we all understand, the reason he wants that out of there is because they're the ones who go to the protests. They're trained to handle that stuff professionally. And it gets into the rice bowl, for lack of a better term, of the protesters who have this cycle going where they go to protests, they act up, the units come to try to keep them out of the road, not attacking other people, not getting in the way, and then they sue, the city settles, which under de Blasio, they settled almost instantaneously, and those settlements fund further protest activities. It's a vicious circle. It goes on. They hate SRG.
Yeah. How did the NYPD respond to Mamdani's presence there?
They were respectful. At a thing like this, everybody is going to be respectful. This is not about politics. Look, we're a day after. We're trying to do some context. But in terms of the event itself, This is one of those situations where the NYPD really shows its colors, in my estimation. You have the ceremonial unit, which is one of, I think, the first in the country. They kind of set the blueprint. They have a special unit. They do other work, but when something like this happens, they mobilize these guys. They come together. The men and women of ceremonial choreograph all of this, so it's done with proper solemnity to make sure that the gravity of the situation is imparted. That's important for the public. That's important for the city, but it's also important for the NYPD to feel like one of their fallen is accorded the proper respect.
It's important for the family. I mean, I hate this for his wife and
And
kids
of course
that the politics is just drowning out.
And
what
that's one of the
happened.
things they do is they're the glue between the city. They are the liaison with the family so that the family always knows, okay, any questions they have people to turn to. They can tell them this is how it's going to go.
Thank you, Paul.
Good to see
And we know Frank Siller, Tunnel to Tower, is going to be there for the family.
Great man.
The widow and the two
he's a good man.
young
Yeah.
children he leaves behind. Thank you, Paul.
It's wild, man. It's just wild. I'm rooting for the asteroid. I'm still rooting for the asteroid. Let's go to some crazier news, right? Because I got a couple of more to go through. Let's go with this one because this is in Florida. I wanted to check it out. Give me 1 second. Let me set it up for us here. All right. Let's watch this together.
Social media fraud scheme is catching people's attention with cash. A woman is facing charges in Hillsborough County, accused of using people's bank information to deposit fake checks and cash in. The sheriff's office says she was targeting people with different types of bank accounts. Fox 13's Kylie Jones is joining us live with the details. Kylie, break it down for us.
Well, Haley, the message from detectives here, if it looks too good to be true, it is. And in this case, detectives believe there are multiple layers to what they're calling a tap-in fraud scheme on social media.
A picture of cash might catch your eye while scrolling social media. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says that was this suspect's tactic.
She was posting like pictures of cash and she was asking users, hey, if you have this bank account, hit me up, reach out, like let's connect.
Investigators say Jeanette Solis Martinez was advertising a tap-in type of fraud scheme. She'd use it to get the person's banking information.
She would then deposit a fraud check and then use their account information to immediately withdraw the cash from that account before the bank could notice that she deposited that fake check.
Some of the photos featured hundreds of dollars worth of cash. Investigators say Martinez would follow up with photos of withdrawal receipts. A retired FBI agent says he used to investigate a wide range of fraud schemes with similar narratives.
I have a check. Can somebody, I'll give you 10%, that kind of scam that you see. And for a lot of people, if they're willing to help somebody out and then make a few bucks on the side, they'll do that.
In this case, an anonymous tip led to Martinez's arrest. Detectives uncovered more than 100 credit cards belonging to other people and more than $6,000. Now they're trying to figure out if Martinez acted alone.
Seeing if the people she was working with, were they meeting up? Were they connecting on social media? Was she saying, hey, I'm going to do this and we can split the profit later, or I'll pay you this much of the deposit of the money that I get from.
Experts say the potential victims in these types of cases aren't just the cardholders.
The banks are eating those costs. They're eating the non-sufficient fund fees. They're having to spend money on investigations. It really is millions, if not billions of dollars.
And the sheriff's office is still working to figure out whether there are more suspects or victims involved in this case. Now, Martinez was given bond by the judge today, but she is being held without bond.
Right now, that's just a wild story. You gotta be careful with your money. Just be careful with your money. That's all. It's just be careful. These days, it's just it's just weird. Weird. All right, let's go to another story. Let me see which one I want to go. Let's go to a weird one, another weird one. Why not, right? Yeah, why not? Here we go.
Okay, radioactive wasps
could be on the loose in South Carolina. Yeah. Now, the question is, are they going to sting someone, turn them into a superhero? Will they mutate, terrorize the planet like Godzilla? Hey, maybe they're already underground, eating pizza, learning ninjutsu from a humanoid rat. You can see where I'm going with this? Well, here's the thing. We first brought you this very buzzy headline last night, and while radioactive insect bites play a prominent role in superhero origin stories, we only have a radioactive nest at this point because we don't know if we have actual radioactive wasps. Workers found the nest earlier this month at a Department of Energy facility known as the Savannah River Site. It once helped produce nuclear weapons, and that nest had a radiation level 10 times higher than what's allowed. Those workers
And they live? The
sprayed
bees
nest
are
with
alive?
insecticide, bagged it up. No wasps were found. The Department of Energy says there's really nothing to worry about. No leak from radiation waste tanks, they say, that the nest was likely contaminated from leftover plutonium and whatever else from when the site was still operating. But one watchdog group is not buying it. The Savannah River Site Watch says we need better answers on where exactly this radioactive waste came from, how the wasp nest soaked it up, and whether other radioactive nests are out there. So joining us right now is that group's executive director, Tom Clements. Great to have you here.
Good questions.
Let's get right into it. Why are you skeptical of this Energy Department explanation?
Well, in the occurrence report that they put out, it says that the nest was contaminated by legacy waste from the site. It's sitting right by high-level waste tanks that are holding tens of millions of gallons of high-level nuclear waste that was a byproduct of producing plutonium and other materials. So that material is legacy waste. Also, leaks or other contamination around the site would be legacy waste. Now, I don't know if this is coming from those high-level waste tanks that I mentioned, but it's a possibility that these wasps could have been gathering woody material to make their nest from trees that had been contaminated. And when you look at it, Savannah River Site is 300 square miles. They had 5 nuclear reactors that produced 36 metric tons of plutonium. So I'm just wondering what is going on here. Why don't they say what radioactive materials were involved?
How do you plan on getting more information?
Well, they released what's called an occurrence report, and here's it printed out. And they have one paragraph saying the level of contamination that you mentioned and that they bagged it up, but they don't say what the radiation was, where it came from. So I'm left basically to file a Freedom of Information Act request to try to find out if they did a report on this and if there's other documentation. And there should be other documentation. Problem with that, though, is the Freedom of Information Act has never worked very well, and they drag their feet in providing documents. So it makes it really hard for the public to find out what happened.
You talk about reports. You say there have been reports of other animals, maybe even humans, that were exposed to radiation at this site?
Yeah, over time. The reactor started up in the early 1950s to make plutonium and tritium, a radioactive gas that goes into all nuclear weapons. And there were leaks into the waterways. These are reactors that had, the water went straight through the reactor. Hot water was pumped into the creeks. So in the bottomlands now, there's radioactive material because it would have gone right through the reactor. So animals have picked that stuff up. And the ecology lab on site has documented that there has been some contamination of animals. When they have deer hunts on the site, they take a sample of tissue. So this is the first time, though, I've seen this kind of insect contaminated.
Wow.
Close to high-level nuclear waste.
That's wild. There's something not right
I
there.
understand that you're worried that this radioactive
Contaminated.
wasp nest could be a harbinger of things to come. Can you elaborate on
Yeah,
that?
maybe the area is contaminated.
Well, it makes me wonder if there's some kind of unknown pathway that we don't know about from those high-level waste tanks, and they are emptying them to their credit. They're solidifying, they're glassifying the high-level waste coming out of there. So they're moving the waste around, they're pumping it out. I don't know if there was a pump that leaked, a pipe that leaked, a cover of one of the tanks that might have had a problem, or if it's as I said, contamination of vegetation nearby. So I think the public needs to know more about what is causing this, because there could be some underlying problem that has more impacts than we can think about right now without having enough information.
And by the way, you've been monitoring the site for 40 years. Is it operational? Is this facility operational in any way?
Oh yeah, they are still pumping high-level waste into these tanks. There were 51 of them, for 1 million gallon tanks. 48 of them are still active, so high-level waste from processing spent nuclear fuel is going into them. And another risk that's coming is they're going to be making the plutonium core, the pit of weapons, or they plan to. So they plan to bring tens of tons of plutonium to the site and basically purify it, melt it down, and make the plutonium core of the nuclear weapon. So there's going to be a lot more nuclear material coming into the site, and that's really of concern.
Yeah, I may have made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle jokes, but this is really no joke. You raised some really compelling points here. So let's keep a careful eye on it. Tom Clements, we know you are too. Thank you so much for
I
taking
would
the
like a
time.
Ninja Turtle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based,
I definitely would like to have a Ninja Turtle, but not like the huge ones. Like, those motherfuckers are just little Ninja Turtle. I think it'd be cute. I had one. I had the figure. I had all of them actually. Actually, did I have them all? Yeah, I actually did. I had all of them. They were my favorite. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One of my favorite movies when I was a kid. The cartoons. I was really into the cartoons. I had their wagon. How they had the Ninja Turtle wagon. I had that, and I had all the Ninja Turtles. Like, damn, do I remember their names? Michelangelo, Raphael, Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael, right? Did I say Raphael? I mean, yeah, there's like, I used to love I remember I had the video game for Nintendo NES, and that game was so hard. It wasn't easy, but I used to play it, but it wasn't like my favorite. I didn't like because you would die easy, and it wasn't. I don't know. The game just was not easy. So yeah, but I still played it, and I got pretty far in the game. But it's just, yeah, memories. I had the Ninja Turtle towel. I had the bubble bath. I had like a whole bunch of stuff when I was little. I was really a big fan of Ninja Turtles. They were like my thing. And yeah. But if the wasps, right, they took down the nest, right? So they fucked up there, right? They should have left the nest, right? They should have gotten a couple of wasps, right? Like put them in a sleep, put them to sleep, and then attach like an antenna, a GPS, to see where are they going to get this material. Where are they sourcing the material? Wouldn't you put a tracking device on a fucking wasp to find out where they're getting this shit from? No, they knocked down the nest. Took all the evidence, took all the wasps, pretty much killed them, and we're not going to know where they got it from. That's what the United States do, man. They cover their asses. They're like, what wasp? What radioactive? Like, no, everything's all good here. No leaks. Mm-hmm. Right. But the bees were radioactive. You ask yourself, how in the that happened? I don't know. But we're sending 2 submarines over to Russia to intimidate them. All it takes is one nuclear weapon to fucking like destroy a huge population, especially like in UK and Europe, anywhere in there. They don't need to go and attack the United States. They could just go and destroy London. You know, they destroy UK, and you know, yeah, they'll end up fucking destroying themselves. But if they're gonna say fuck it all out, blitz, they'll probably shoot some nuclear weapons to the United States. And I don't think we have the capability to intercept them. You know, and all we're going to end up doing is retaliating and sending, like, shooting missiles from the United States to Russia. Yeah, the United States has some very futuristic weapons. And like I said, this is like playing poker right now. You don't want to overplay your hand. So you don't want to show everything that you have, especially the alien type of weapons that we have. We're not showing those weapons yet, motherfucker. How many submarines you throwing? 2? Bitch, I got a whole fucking, like, a whole deck of fucking submarines. Russia has a lot of submarines and icebreakers too. They could travel through the Arctic easily, and strike the United States from the Arctic. But all right, you can send your 2 submarines. Yeah, you know, I just, I don't feel intimidated. I don't think Russia feels intimidated either. Oh goodness gracious! But let's check out this story. The train of truth is here. The train of truth is here. I know. I love the train of truth. I think he's pretty pissed off about the 2 submarines. He's like, Rick's talking some truth there. Let me just overly exaggerating the horn for Rick. Thank you. All right, let's check out the next story here. It comes from Local 10 ABC. This is W.
Off the top tonight,
I forgot.
a stunning
It's-
9-figure verdict.
Actually, no, it's Channel 10.
Found partially liable after a deadly crash in Key Largo. Back in 2019, a 22-year-old was killed and her boyfriend was injured after a driver using the company's autopilot system slammed into them.
And now the family says this verdict is a major step toward accountability. Local 10's Liam Monehong is live outside the.
Ooh, Elon's gonna have to pay.
What comes next? For
How much,
Tesla?
Elon?
Leanne.
How much Elon's gonna have to pay?
The first question jurors were asked to answer on their verdict form was whether Tesla put a defective product on the market that was a legal cause of damage to the victims. To that question, the jury answered yes and awarded the plaintiffs millions of damages. The plaintiff's attorney framing this nearly 3-week trial as a battle between David and Goliath.
This teaches them and every other automaker out there that they cannot use our public roadways as a laboratory to do a beta test.
A federal jury in Miami dealing a blow to Tesla, finding the company partially responsible for a 2019 crash that killed a woman and injured her boyfriend.
This was a big moment.
He's getting paid.
We had to stand up and have courage.
He's getting paid.
Stand up to someone like this.
Can you describe what that is?
This is my sister's fingerprint, and we.
Oh, she's getting paid too.
She's closer.
Do you think she's with you today?
Yes, she's definitely is.
The lawsuit blamed Tesla's autopilot system on a 2019 Model S for not preventing the crash and for deceptively marketing the system.
They saw through their half-truths, their mischaracterizations, and their lies.
The victims, Naibel Benavides Leon and Dylan Angulo, were standing
Dylan,
along
you
Park
getting
Sound
paid.
Road beside their SUV when the Tesla slammed into the couple. The driver, George McGee, said he leaned over to pick up a cell phone when it happened. Lawyers for Tesla argued McGee overrode autopilot by pushing the accelerator and blamed the crash on his speed and distraction. But the jury found Tesla was 33% responsible for the crash. awarding a total of more than $240 million in total damages
Oh
and
my
returning
God.
with a message for Tesla CEO Elon Musk.
Use this as an opportunity, as a lesson, a teachable moment to be a responsible manufacturer.
So, Leanne, we know that their attorneys for Tesla
Ooh.
were there. Were you able to speak with anybody from Tesla after the verdict? And if so, what did they have to say?
Tesla's attorneys declined all requests for on-camera interviews after that verdict was read, but they did send out a written statement in which they reiterated their position at trial. They called the verdict wrong and said that no car could have prevented that 2019 crash. They say they will appeal.
And we'll see how this affects the
Wow.
brand moving forward. Our Leanne Woodhong live outside Miami at the federal courthouse. Thank you.
They're gonna appeal it. Of course, they're gonna appeal it. You know, because they're gonna have to take it up. And will they get it like overturned? I don't know, man. Tesla. I don't trust these futuristic, like anything connected to the internet can be manipulated. I used to say that all the time. Like I've been saying that for years. Anything connected to the internet can be manipulated. And I just got this like poke in my eye. This is the poke I was telling you about the Joe Biden. I'd rather get poked in the eye with a needle, right? I feel like I got poked in the eye with a needle. It's painful. Yeah, Tesla, these futuristic cars, I don't trust them. The Cybertruck looks horrible. I'm like, whoever likes that, I mean, all power to you, but it's not for me. No way. I don't trust anything. Those electric cars, I don't trust them. It seems like it'll give me anxiety. It's like I have to find a place to plug it in, and then it takes forever to charge. Like, no, I don't want to be stuck in a position where I could be robbed or attacked. You know, parked in a place for an extended amount of time just to charge up my fucking car. That it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry, it just does not. And the fact that gasoline is more available everywhere, it's more reliable, and you don't have to fear or have anxiety because you could get gas pretty much anywhere. So there's a lot of things that need to be upgraded, especially with Tesla. The vehicles, I think if you're gonna want to be a green company, then I think you should make your cars solar cars. Like, get the energy from the free energy that you have above your fucking head, the sun, and have the sun charge up the batteries of the cars while they're parked or driving. That the rotation of the tires will fucking charge the battery up, and then you'll have enough battery for days. Even if it's raining, if it storms, it doesn't matter. The little light that comes through will still charge up the car. Like, that's the type of shit that we need. Like, the rotation of the tires and the braking helps charge up the car. So like, as you driving, you are charging. Look, I just made a multi-trillion-dollar idea, and I'm giving it away for free on my Mind Over Your Matter. Go run with it. Send me a check later. It's crazy. I'm just saying, it's just crazy. All right, let's go to another story here. It's back to a Trump story. So this is in reference to the Epstein. So let's check this out and see what they have to say. This is coming from today. Epstein looks fucking weird. Don't you look weird? Look how he looks like, ugh, pervert.
President Trump this morning facing new questions about Jeffrey Epstein and one of the convicted sex offenders' most vocal accusers, Virginia Giuffre, who worked at Mar-a-Lago decades ago while in high school. The president said this week Epstein stole her away.
Did you know why he was taking those young women, including Virginia?
No, I didn't know. But I said, if he's taking anybody from Mar-a-Lago, he's hiring or whatever he's doing. I didn't like it, and we threw him out.
Now, the family of Giuffre, who died by suicide in April, is speaking publicly.
It does make us question how much did he know?
And responding to This Moment Tuesday on Air Force One, as the president referenced Epstein and Giuffre.
He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know, none whatsoever.
What went through your mind when you heard that?
I think we were shocked by it. Especially to use the term stolen. Because she's not an object. She's a person. She's a mom. She's a sister.
The White House press secretary says the president was directly responding to a question posed by a reporter about Ms. Giuffre. He did not bring her up. President Trump has denied any knowledge of Epstein's wrongdoing as he's come under scrutiny for his administration's handling of the Epstein case, with a chorus of calls from some supporters to release more information, a move her family says Giuffre supported.
One of our very, very last conversations on FaceTime, she had a little bit of hope in her because it was said that the files were going to be released.
Giuffre said it was Epstein's convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who recruited and trafficked her. The family now urging President Trump not to pardon Maxwell, something her attorney has publicly floated.
It would be an abomination. Our sister always told us that Maxwell was even worse than Epstein.
Well, President Trump has not publicly ruled out a pardon for Maxwell. A senior administration official told NBC News no leniency is being given or discussed. Maxwell's attorney did not respond to our request for comment. Craig.
All right. Our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, thank you. And of course, for the very latest from Washington, including what's next in the Epstein case.
I would not give her no damn pardon. I'm like, pardon me, bitch? Hell no, I ain't pardoning you. You crazy? Are you loco? Because I think she's loca. If she's gonna be, if she wants to get pardoned, pardon me. I don't think so, bitch. You. It's just I feel the energy. You know what I mean? And I just feel all the bad that has happened, and it's like, yeah, it's just wild times right now. Actually, I'm gonna set this one up for later. That's for the end of the show, because I like to end the show with a little Tyson De La Cruz. So we're definitely gonna watch that a little bit. Let me just go. I'm going through the stories right now. I do have a few more to go, and then we'll call it a night. Yeah, we'll definitely call it a night. Can I close that one out? Okay, I think we already saw that one. Yeah, we just got like two more actually. No, three more in total. Okay, so let's set up this one, and then we have 3 in total, and then that's the end of the show. Just doing an early entry and not going to be on too much. I am tired from yesterday, and the physical therapy was a lot for my neck and my back, and every time I go to therapy, it's like it's torture, and it makes me more tired and weak and not sleepy, but like very sore, like very painful and not feeling good. So it is what it is. I took my medicine before coming on the show, and you know, don't do much. It doesn't do much. But let's go ahead and check out the story.
A massive statewide human trafficking and sex offender bust in Mississippi that net 72 arrests. More than 24 victims were rescued in Operation Guardian Force. The Mississippi Attorney General saying some 400 law enforcement officers took part in this 2-week mission. Our Natalie Williamson has
First
your
time
late
I'm hearing
reporting
this.
tonight.
This
And
is a 2-week
Natalie, you
mission?
spoke with someone who was there to see what happened.
How come this is not in the mainstream media?
Who is a human trafficking advocate with the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence, was there to provide 29 victims with the help they need. Tonight, a big sex offender and human trafficking bust across
Oh
Mississippi
my
has
God.
resulted in the arrest of 72 people, according to the Mississippi Attorney
Tyson,
General,
this is a
Lynn Fitch.
Tyson
During Operation Guardian Force,
type
law
of
enforcement officers were able to
reporting.
rescue 29 human trafficking victims in this 2-week investigation, which went from July 14th to July 29th. Catherine
my
Bizu,
God.
human trafficking advocate with the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence, says they were there to offer open arms to the victims.
The operation
I don't
had
think they want
many
open arms. I
folds
think they
to
already
it.
had too many
There
arms
was a
on them.
drug sting and there was a human trafficking sting, which we were a part of. We were invited by the Attorney General. We did 2 days with the law enforcement. And when they brought in victims, we were there to be able to give them resources. They were able to seek medical attention if they wanted it. They were offered shelter if they wanted it. But ultimately, we just wanted them to know that there was a place there for them for when they were ready.
The U.S. Department of State says there are approximately 14,500 to 17,500 domestic victims trafficked every day. The Mississippi Attorney General says several agencies were part of this operation, including sheriff's departments from Jackson, Harrison, and Stone counties, as well as police
Where's she
from
looking
Bay
at?
St. Louis and Biloxi. Bizu tells me the
Where's she
victims
looking at?
varied in
The
age,
names?
showing anyone can be trafficked.
Not a lot of people
Girl, she did too much.
understand what human trafficking is, or they may not realize that they have been human trafficked. So
I like her chair.
It takes a little bit of kindness and patience when you're dealing with victims, because sometimes they may not be ready to accept their situation, or they might be scared because, you know, abusers have control over them.
And we are working to gather more information on this, like who the 72 suspects are. Bizu says if you think you are in a similar situation, there is help. Lenice.
What? This is the first time I'm hearing this, and this is a 2-week operation. Like, are you kidding me? Damn, I didn't even know about that. I don't even think Tyson even knows about that. You know what? Let me see if I can send it to him. That's my boy Tyson. Shit like this, I gotta send to him because it's crazy. You know, I'll send it to him directly. And this weekend is SummerSlam, so if you want to watch SummerSlam with me, just let me know. I could hold some people. I got probably some people are going to be coming through. So if you want to watch SummerSlam, you can watch it with me. I send it to him. I say you should report on this. That story has like legs. That's a wild story, and I think he should like do a report on that because that's out of Mississippi, and I've been to Mississippi. I've been to like Biloxi. I actually played in the casino there, and I did very well. I played roulette. I played a lot of roulette. Actually, the whole time. I play a little bit of the slots, but majority of the time I was playing roulette. How did I do? I came out with some money. And then on the slots too, I came out with some money. Like I paid for the dinner and everything, and the tank of gas. Like I did okay. I actually would like to go back. I actually enjoyed the meal there. I really enjoyed the atmosphere, and I really liked the roulette table. I'm really like I just play certain numbers and just go with the feeling, and it's really cool playing roulette with me. Playing with a psychic. Oh goodness gracious! But yeah, SummerSlam is tomorrow, so I'll be watching both Saturday and Sunday because one night is not enough. So it's a 2-night event. So I will be broadcasting it live, a private viewing, and certain people are gonna watch. So I already got a little, who I'm gonna send out the links to. Let's see. I always leave Tyson for the end. So, and then we got to go through the weather. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the tropics and so forth. But before I do that, let's go ahead and show you the global impacts of this earthquake that happened in Russia. This is going to be like the global impacts of the 6th largest earthquake ever. And you'll be amazed by what we're going to see, I believe, because I haven't even seen this. This is from CNN. I don't like CNN, but if they're providing the video, I'm going to show it to you guys. So set it up here. All right, here we go.
One of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded struck off the Russian east coast a few hours ago.
Oh, look at the rocks falling. Look at the mountain. Oh shit, there's the tsunami in Russia.
This is the largest earthquake we've had in over a decade worldwide. And so it's among the top 10 earthquakes that have been measured by a human
Yeah, but
in a century and a half. And so
the tsunami wasn't as big as Japan's.
What happens is that close by the earthquake and on the coastline of Kamchatka, the tsunami was probably quite enormous and damaging, but the coastline itself is very sparsely populated. The main city in Kamchatka, about 150,000 people, is actually in a harbor that's somewhat protected from that. But when the wave that set up there, again, this earthquake basically moves the seafloor upward by roughly a meter, a few feet, something like that. And that leads to a bulge of water that starts traveling across the ocean.
Tsunami alerts in force for millions throughout the Pacific region.
Wow.
The tsunami threat triggered by a massive 8.8 magnitude quake that struck Russia's Far East hours ago. The first waves hitting Russia and Japan, where nearly 2 million people have been evacuated. This is video from Japan's second biggest island, Hokkaido, where people fled to the highest rooftops that they could find.
Smart.
A mega thrust earthquake. It happens in a subduction zone. A tectonic plate
but
is
it's not-
going under another,
Japan
and
got
part
lucky.
of the surface of the ocean is thrust up. Think of a continental plate being thrust up, and it's the push of water from down below that creates the tsunami. There's a lot of energy being pushed out. Now, if you are standing on a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you might not even notice.
We are getting some pretty remarkable images from where this earthquake struck, when it first struck off the far east coast of Russia. At the time this happened, doctors in a cancer center were performing a surgery and had to basically hold the patient, as you see there, hold on to the equipment in the operating room as well as steady themselves. Just an indication of how dramatic this was.
Over in Hawaii, there was a lot of chaos in the hours leading up to the waves coming ashore there, where there was flooding and there were waves almost to 6 feet high. And as they told people to evacuate, there was a logjam of traffic as people were trying to make their way up to higher elevations, up to buildings 4 stories or higher. Here in Southern California, officials are the most concerned about the current. They're asking people here in LA County to stay out of the water. They're clearing the beaches. They've cleared all the events. They're asking RVs to move because, yes, there wasn't any significant damage here. There wasn't any flooding, which is great news, but these waves are strong.
I want to take you to Russia, where a volcano in this general proximity of this earthquake zone is now erupting. We've seen images of lava oozing from the side of the volcano. Authorities have reported explosions. In fact, there are some tourists in the area who've said they want to stay to watch the eruption. So that is all taking place as this earthquake struck this far east coast of Russia several hours before.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. You know what I mean? It's wild, wild, wild world we're living in. Oh, by the way, I got a text from Tyson. He was like, "Thanks for sending this over." Like, he's gonna report on it. Like, that 72 arrests made and 29 victims. That's a very big deal, and the national media is not really picking up on it. This is just a local news that I picked up on, and it's not really being talked about nationally. And this was a 2-week operation that happened in July, right? 2 weeks, and nobody wants to talk about it. I send it to Tyson. He'll talk about it. And talking about Tyson, we're gonna go right to Tyson before I do the weather. So let's set it up here and let's put out Tyson De La Cruz. Yeah, a lot of finger movement doing these shows live. It's not like pre-recorded, because you could edit all this and stuff, but I ain't gonna do that. I don't have the patience for editing.
It's rarely even mentioned that China has many thousands of spies working in the United States in business, finance, academia, technology, media, and likely even government.
America, we just uncovered what might be one of the most blatant cases of Chinese Communist Party infiltration in American politics. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass took over $1 million
put on that
from 2 Chinese bankers with direct ties to CCP's intelligence services, then immediately appointed them to her mayoral transition advisory team. But here's the kicker. These aren't just any bankers. These are operatives connected to the United Front Work Department, which the CCP calls their magic weapon for infiltrating and subverting foreign governments.
Yeah, I'm gonna send them a couple of things, especially like for the holidays.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass allegedly took money from a pair of bankers with ties to Chinese Communist intelligence, who were then appointed to her mayoral transition advisory team.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This is textbook pay-to-play politics with foreign advisory, and it's happening right under our noses in one of America's largest cities. Let me break down this corruption scheme for you. According to an explosive investigation by the Daily Caller News Foundation, Mayor Karen Bass received over $1 million from 2 Chinese bankers, Dominic Nguyen and Simon Pang, and their affiliated institutions.
Karen Bass built her career as a community activist. Well, there's a code word we now understand what it means. Her history is tied to radicalism, Marxism, and a dangerous ideology that bled from
That's
the
true too,
fringes into
Seven.
the
A
mainstream.
lot of
Here's how the money
weirdness,
flowed.
right, with the
Simon Peng
media.
donated $33,000 total, $3,800 to her congressional campaign, $4,700 to her mayoral campaign, and between $5,000 to $24,000 to the mayor's fund. Dominic Nguyen personally donated $1,500, but here's where it gets interesting. His East West Bank Foundation donated between $100,000 to almost $1 million to Bass's mayor fund. And what happened right after Bass collected all this Chinese money? In December 2022, she appointed both bankers to her mayoral transition advisory team, the group tasked with guiding policies and staffing decisions of her administration.
According to campaign finance records, Yin and Peng and their affiliated banks have donated about $1 million to Bass's political efforts and the nonprofit. These contributions came right before she appointed them to the transition team, raising questions about quid pro quo.
Now, here's where the story gets scary. These aren't just wealthy Chinese American businessmen trying to buy influence. Both Dominic Nguyen and Simon Peng have held official positions with the Chinese Communist Party intelligence network. Simon Peng serves as the Southern California coordinator for the Chinese People Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries. Sounds innocent, right? Wrong. The United States Department designated the CPAFFC as a foreign mission in 2020 because it's directly controlled by the CCP's United Front Work Department. The United Front Work Department is what the Chinese Communist Party calls their quote-unquote magic weapon for infiltrating and subverting foreign governments.
Congress needs to dig deep into the financial operations of the University of Pennsylvania, its Chinese donors, the Biden Center, and the Biden family, and figure out what the hell is going on.
Their job is to identify, cultivate, and co-opt foreign political leaders to advise Chinese interests. Peng was even awarded the title of Sino-U.S. Friendship Envoy by the CPAFFC in 2019. And get this, he wore a Mao suit in Beijing's Great Hall of the People during the communist regencies. Dominic Nguyen has his own CCP connections. He served at the executive director level in an honorary position with Chinese Overseas Exchange Association and attended a March 2015 session of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference as a guest observer. This is a textbook Chinese influence operation, and it's been going on for years. By 2019, Simon Peng had led 9 delegations of U.S. lawmakers to meet with the CPAFFC officials in China. 9 delegations. And most of these lawmakers on the trips were Democrats. In 2014 alone, Peng brought 21 mayors to meet Chinese officials. The Chinese government uses these sister city relationships and culture exchanges to press their political agendas and identify potential assets in American government. Expert Sam Cooper, who tracks Chinese influence operations, called this situation a huge red flag. He told the Daily Caller that having United Front operatives on transition teams is exactly how the CCP builds political leverage in foreign governments.
I mean, it's really an embarrassment on our country that we have more people locked up in the United States than any place in the world. And if you look at the many people who are locked up, they're locked up because they're poor.
Gordon Chang, the author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, put it perfectly. Los Angeles is now a wide open city for China's communists.
It's a really big deal because the Communist Party has actually said that we are an enemy. In May of 2019, People's Daily, which is the most authoritative publication about China, declared a quote-unquote people's war on the U.S.
The CCP has successfully placed operatives in advisory positions and arguably one of America's most powerful mayors. And here's what makes this even more disturbing. Karen Bass has a long history of communist ties. Back in the 1970s, she was a huge advocate for Fidel Castro and his communist regime in Cuba.
Let me introduce you to Karen Bass. Back in the 1970s, community activist Karen Bass went on at least 15 trips to Cuba, many with a group known as the Venceremos Brigade, a Marxist group started by the Castro regime to subvert American interests, weaken democracies, and spread communism around the world.
So needless to say, this isn't her first rodeo with Chinese communist operatives. Earlier this year, it was revealed that Bass also hired the son of a CCP intelligence official as a city liaison. There is an absolute clear pattern here of Bass Bass surrounding herself with people connected to American enemies. While Bass resists federal immigration enforcement and fights against ICE operations in Los Angeles, she rolled out the red carpet for Chinese Communist intelligence operatives. She'll fight tooth and nail to protect illegal immigrants from deportation, but she'll happily take money from foreign adversaries. The mayor's fund that's received hundreds of thousands of dollars in Chinese money has already sparked corruption concerns. Under the previous mayor, this nonprofit allegedly allowed mayors to solicit contributions outside legal campaign finance bounds. Let me be absolutely clear what we're dealing with here. This isn't just local corruption. This is a national security threat. The Chinese Communist Party is systematically infiltrating American city governments by using wealthy operatives to buy influence with campaign donations.
You know, Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler, he doesn't want to compete with us in the existing international system. He wants to overthrow it altogether because he drops hints about how China should be the world's only sovereign state, which means that everybody else, including America, should just be a colony.
Los Angeles isn't just any city. It's America's second largest city, a major port of entry, and the home of critical infrastructure. Having CCP operatives advise the mayor on policy and staffing decisions gives China unprecedented access to sensitive information about American operations. Think about what these transition advisors have access to: city planning documents, security protocols, infrastructure details, personnel decisions, and policy priorities. All of this information is valuable intelligence for foreign adversaries.
May 1st, 2020, President Trump initiated an executive order which prohibited American electric companies and grid operators from buying equipment from China because it could be sabotaged. Well, within hours of taking the oath of office, Biden repealed that executive order. You know, there's no justification for doing that. There were so many giveaways in those initial executive orders to China, and Biden didn't get anything in return from the Chinese. So, you know, the Chinese are just laughing at us because he's just given everything away.
The Chinese government has been running this playbook for decades. They identify rising political figures, shower them with money through seemingly legitimate business channels, then cash in their chips when these politicians reach positions of power. America, what we're seeing in Los Angeles is exactly what China's Plan Red looks like in action. The Chinese Communist Party is buying American politicians with campaign donations, then placing their operatives in positions where they can influence policy and
remember the trip to San Francisco?
Took over $1 million from Chinese communist intelligence operatives, then immediately gave them advisory positions in her administration. This isn't coincidence. This is corruption, and it is a direct threat to American national security. While Bass fights federal immigration
infiltrating the system
and protects illegal immigrants from deportation, she's welcoming Chinese communist operatives into the highest levels of Los Angeles government. She'll resist American law enforcement, but embrace foreign adversaries. This story proves that the Chinese Communist Party's infiltration of American politics isn't some conspiracy theory. It's happening right now in a major city. And politicians like Karen Bass are either too corrupt or too naive to care about national security implications. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
I say every time I watch, I'm proud of him. He's doing so much better, and I'm glad to have him as a friend. He's a good friend. But let's go to the weather. Let's check out the tropics. Let's check out the tropics with me. I'm your meteorologist. Just call me Rick. Let's make myself little. And here we are in the tropics. And what catches my attention here? What catches my attention is this right here in the Upper Leeward Islands, north of St. Thomas, pretty much going towards the northwest, north of Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico, they'll get rain. They'll probably get some rain from it. But this system is a very big system here. And I see the rotation because you can see the clouds. You can see the rotation already. Like, all it needs is the thunderstorms, and it's getting it. I told you guys the other day, like, I've been monitoring the system ever since it was in Africa. Okay. and it struggled because of the dry air and the Saharan dust, but now is getting into more of a favorable area because this area is moist and it's more rich for the system to get its act together. Like this is a stalled out front. This is a stalled front. So what's going to happen? High pressure is going to develop right above here, and this system is going to move off, you know, off to the east, and you got the system like it just looks ominous. Let's get a closer look at it, right? Like, Rick, get us a closer look. All right, let's go to the central. We could take the western, but first let me show you the central. So here's the system. It's right here. So you can see the rotation. You see it like the downward motion. You see it, it's already like pushing downwards here. And all it is doing is wrapping up these storms. And the storms are starting to develop around the center. So this is a development that the system could rapidly develop. Would it happen overnight? I mean, I've seen storms from nothing to something overnight. So I wouldn't like go against the grain on that one. Let's go to the Western Atlantic here. And you can just see it coming into the picture. And this is the wave right here. And this is the area that I'm watching. And the group of thunderstorms that is holding together here, as you can see, it's holding. And all it needs is to get into an area of favorable, which is around here. It should get to more of a favorable area. And then watch out. We don't know where the storm could go. It could go to Florida. Shit, it would be fucked up if it goes to Miami, because I was talking about it the other day. I was like, man, when's the last time Miami got a direct hit from a hurricane? Oh man, I shouldn't have said that, but oh well. If it goes to Miami, I hope Miami's getting ready. Damn, that's a big blow up of thunderstorms around the Orlando area. Orlando going to Tampa. Holy shit, that's a big uprise of thunderstorms here. So that's the sea breeze kicking in here. And there's a lot of moisture in this area. That's what I'm saying. This sucker could pop up and like surprise bitch and turn into a monster, because this water over here is nice and hot. Very warm waters off like the Bahamas and off Florida here. Oh goodness gracious. This thing could really take off if given the opportunity, and I think it will. We got to keep eye on this area right here. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. Oh goodness. Let's check out what's coming off of Africa. Let's check out the eastern side of the Atlantic. A lot of energy coming off of Africa right now. Like this right here is something right here that is going to need to be watched down the line. You can see here also there's like a little rotation right here. So there's still a lot of dry air and Saharan dust. You can see it's pushing downwards, and that's the dry air and the Saharan dust coming off of Africa. You can kind of see it on the satellite. It turns like into like a whitish, like it looks like white out, like white color here. A lot of that is like Saharan dust and then the dry air coming downwards. So that's why you don't see that much like rainstorms up here. You just, don't see it. The Cape Verde Islands here. It's going to see some rain coming through in the next, probably overnight here. Probably it's going to be daytime for them, but they're going to have a little surprise for them. Some rain. It's been a while since they got rain. So this is going to be a nice beginning of August for them. Yeah. But a lot of energy is coming, and you can see it's more northern. So this is all energy that's going to get into the Atlantic, and it's going to change a lot of the atmosphere. And if this is a precursor of what is to come, especially for like the end of August into September, This is going to be a hell of a season, I tell you right now, because this is prime energy that's coming. Like there's one right here, this wall right here, there's another one back here, and it's coming up in a higher latitude. It's coming up on the 15 north latitude. That's pretty high, you know, and to start off like the true hurricane season, you know, there's already been 4 named storms, and like Dexter is the next one, right? Good show too, by the way. Very fucking good show. Like when I first saw that show, for the first time, I was like, holy shit, this is freaking crazy. It's crazy, but it's a good show for sure. And the reason why I started watching that was because the actor was from 6 Feet Under, which is a great series too. So yeah, it's yeah, Dexter, by the way. Where Dexter's gonna form, I think Dexter's probably gonna be, if I probably think it's probably gonna be this here. Let's guide to the Western Atlantic here, and this is Puerto Rico here, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and St. Thomas is over here, and yeah, and Epstein Island is out here too. Epstein Island, it's in this area. If you didn't know exactly where the fuck was the Epstein Island, it's over here. It's like close to like St. Thomas. But this system right here, if it gets its act together and it generates the storms that I'm looking at right now that are holding up together, this is a precursor. Let's see what happens tomorrow morning. If it starts getting more developed and gets more thunderstorms and starts wrapping around, my channel is going to turn into a weather channel, because then I'm going to track the storm, and we're going to be talking a lot about the storm and my experiences with hurricanes. It's always a rough time. It's not fun at all. But yeah, that's all for the show. That's it. That was your weather. I'll keep an eye on that system. Tomorrow's show is gonna be an early show. I believe I'm gonna do early shows for Saturday and Sunday, and I'm only doing one show for the day because I am watching SummerSlam tomorrow, and you know those events are like 4 hours like long, and 4 or 5 hours long. I don't even know how long is this one, because they put it for 2 nights, so it's like 2 nights of wrestling, and it's like a full card on both nights. So you know, let's see what happens. It's gonna be interesting for sure, and I will be doing my show early. I don't know exactly the time because I don't know how I'm gonna wake up, because I've been waking up feeling like shit. That's why I haven't been doing early shows, but I'm gonna try to get myself and build some courage and eat a good breakfast tomorrow. I'll probably go to IHOP, and yeah, I like a good breakfast. I like I don't know, I just like their pancakes better. I like IHOP's pancakes better. You know, because it's always been the battle between Denny's and IHOP, right? And there's a lot of local mom and pop places out here too, but just IHOP, you know, I like to get the sampler. I like the breakfast sampler, and I tend to get it like over medium with a side of white toast. Yeah, it's like a breakfast, a full breakfast, and it's good enough for me, and it fills me up. And actually, I think I might do that tomorrow and just have a good breakfast, and come on here and start off a good show, do it for a few hours, and then go off to SummerSlam and watch SummerSlam in the evening. So Yeah, it's just two days, and I know Tyson's gonna be on for maybe a little bit on Saturday, I believe, and then he's gonna be, I guess, like the whole show for Sunday. So he's gonna be watching with me too. So I know Albie's gonna be watching, and others. There's another Terry possibly. I'm gonna send him an invite. So and yeah, there's certain people there's like a little watch group, and that's why I like bring the people together and watch wrestling. And I provide entertainment for free. It says come and watch, and it's all poetry. It's all like Broadway show, but to the extreme. A very physical show, a very physical Broadway show. That it's there's chances of them being injured because of different types of maneuvers and things like that. Ring, it's not easy. It's easy to watch it, right? But if you put yourself into a wrestler and the vision of the wrestler and doing this match, it's not easy. That's just not easy. I don't think I don't know if I would be able to have like that capability to wrestle like that. It's not. It's easier to watch than it is to do. That is for sure. Especially the way my body feels. I mean, maybe a sharpshooter make me feel a little bit better. Something that stretched my back. I think that like that maneuver, I think I like it more than anything. But yeah, guys, just have a good night. A good morning, good afternoon, and a good night, right? And I'll catch you on the flip side. And I'll set something up for tomorrow and whatever happens overnight, because news been breaking like every day. Something's always happening. It's like every day it's always something. It's always something. Every day's it's like we don't learn, right? And we constantly like we're given an extra day, right? So it's like, all right, do for this day and let's see if you could get the day right. And it's like you don't get it right, and then you have to repeat it again and again and again, like different ways, but repeating onwards until you get it right, and then you die. It's like you finally got it, now you die. And you can die all different ways. You could die in the hospital, you could have a heart attack, you could have a stroke, you could get hit by a car. It's like we don't know the way we're going to die. It's just we just don't know. Death is very interesting to me. So interesting that I've had near death experiences, and I think I want to talk about it again on the next show. My near death experience and how it made me more like enlightened with the energy and with my gifts, how it made me more psychic in ways, and I'm very sensitive. And yeah, I think we should talk about it in the next show. So with that said, I'm out of here. Have a good night, and catch you on the flip side again. Peace.